One of the things that Microsoft has done in some of the later versions of SQL 2005 and with SQL 2008, and to be honest with you, it's quite irritating, is they no longer install or include sample databases with the install. So if you'll notice, when I installed SQL Server 2008, I've got my system databases, but I didn't get any sample databases. So what you have to do now is go out and download these things and then add them in here. Well, I'm going to start first of all with the PUBS database, the old database. Now, if yours doesn't look like this, because I'm kind of moving around a little bit here in the course trying to figure out where to drop these different videos, but if you still have some of those junk databases in here that I had before, notice I've just deleted those. You can just right click and delete those databases, so don't let that throw you. Yours could look different from this. But I want to include that old PUBS database. It's very simple, it's a very small database, and so I want to add it here. Well, what I've done is I have included the PUBS database in your working files folder with your course. So all you need to do is go out and grab it. I think it's zipped up, it may be in a RAR file. You just need to right click and extract it and you will get a PUBS MDF file. Now what you have to do, we're going to attach it here. So this is kind of a best of both worlds. You're going to learn a trick here about attaching, and I'm also going to use that a little later and show you some things about moving files. But what you'll need to do is go out and grab that PUBS database, and you're going to have to put it in the right place, and I'll show you here. Just go copy the PUBS MDF, and you're going to go onto your C drive, go into Program Files, Microsoft SQL Server, and then here's my drive for my SQL Server. There's my server name, and that's a folder, not a drive, by the way. I just caught that. And if I go into the data file, notice I have my PUBS MDF. I just dropped it right there. Notice it's a 2 megabyte database. Now, once I have that database in that location, and if you don't do this, you're going to get errors when you try to do what I'm about to do here. So I've got it out there. So what I will do now is I will right-click on Databases and just choose Attach. And it's going to say, what do you want to attach? And I will say, well, I want to attach, and I'll click on Add, and it'll take me out to here, and I will just point at that PUBS MDF and say, OK, and take this log file right here and just remove it, and say OK. And notice this attaches the PUBS database. So now I have those tables in here. Notice I can right-click on the table and say select top 1,000 rows, and I can actually see my data over here. Now, how cool is that? I can actually look into the database and see the data and see what's going on. Now, that's the PUBS database. Some of you guys may not like that. Now, Microsoft also has put out there a database called AdventureWorks, and there's a bunch of versions of this. And what I've done for you here is Microsoft allows these to be downloaded from a website that they're working in conjunction with, or it's a Microsoft site. Not really sure about the relationship. Not important here. It's called Codeplex. Codeplex.com, Codeplex.com. And let me just put that up here, www.codeplex.com. So if you go to that website, I just put it up there for you to see. You can't do anything with that right here. So anyway, there's Codeplex.com. You will be able to download, you can look around and you can download the AdventureWorks executable. This is an exe file. Now, this is about an 80 megabyte file. I'm going to try to include it on the work files folder. Okay, sometimes we get into issues with sizes of these files. They become problematic for us. So I'm hoping that you will see this on your work files folder. If you don't, no reason to panic. Just go out to Codeplex and you can find it. Better yet, go to Google and put SQL Server 2008 sample databases, okay? If this is on your work files folder, you can just copy this. I'm just putting it on my desktop here. And if you don't, just go to Codeplex, get it, and then double click it and it will run. And notice it's going to unzip a bunch of files for you. And then it's going to, once it gets all this done, it's going to give me the option of choosing which sample databases I want. Now, one of the really cool things Microsoft has done is they have now given us sample databases for data warehousing, for reporting services, for all kinds of things. And they've split them out differently. And so this will give you the opportunity to pull all of those down and install them if you would like. And so notice I will let all this unzip, and we're almost there. And then it's going to take me to the next step. And I will agree to all the license terms. Here, I'll pull this down so you read that, right? And what it's going to do now is give me the chance to choose about which sample databases I'd like to have. And we'll give it just a second here to pull that up. And let me just, while I'm waiting here, let me go ahead and throw a couple of things out there. SQL Server 2008, there is a release 2 slated to come out. It is not far enough along for us to include it here without causing problems, and so I'm not going to deal with it. But some of these databases are not backward compatible. Now, you can't put this 2008 database on a 2005 box without having to make some changes, and there's all kind of rumors about the R2. Could cause some problems if you're not running R2, so just keep that in mind. Notice I'm taking the LT, which is the lightweight version, and there is an OLTP, which is kind of the full version. Well, I'm just going to take the lightweight version, but I could easily get both of these. But to make it go fast here in the video, I'm just going to take the small one. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to stop this video right here, call this part 1, and I'll join you again in part 2, and we'll finish this up and take a look and see what we got.